You know what time it is. It's your favorite social media coach, Melle Howard. Coach Melle in the building with your favorite cool uncle, Uncle Flood, and they're going to take you inside the game. So sit down, relax, get your favorite beverage, and hang as they take you across the SWAT, especially in Southern University football and professional sports as they talk Monday Night Football here on Inside the Game. All right, let's get into it.
What's happening? Are we available? Can they hear us? There
Like,
we go.
how long we been doing this? Like, why am I still on mute? So as you can see, I have on my glasses, so my thinking is not all the way straight. My contacts act a fool today, so this is Glasses Melle. So welcome to Glasses with Coach Melle. But I'm actually like
a good thing.
I'm old now, Unc, and so like I felt when I put them on, I felt like rejuvenated. I was like, oh, I could do this. So you might see the glasses more often these days.
Hey, it's not a bad thing. Trust me. For somebody who's been sporting them for a lot of years now, it's not all bad.
Yeah, the first thing I thought about is like I need to get LASIK surgery like yesterday, but it actually was. I'm glad I had them with me and packed. I have made it to as the people like to call it, Texas Southern Invitational. So looking forward to a wonderful week of basketball.
Well, hopefully this year it won't be that. Hopefully this year will not be the Texas Southern Invitational.
I was thinking, I was sitting in my hotel room and my room is like facing the parking lot, terrible views, but whatever. And I saw their bus roll up like a few minutes ago, and I'm like, oh God, they made it. They're here. So yeah, I'm hoping that both of our squads can take care of business in this upcoming SWAC tournament. So looking forward to a wonderful weekend in Atlanta. We will be talking about that shortly. But before we get into the business of the show, it has really been a tragic strucken week for Southern University. And so we want to send our hearts, our thoughts, and our prayers out to the family of Caleb Wilson, who was killed in a hazing incident over last week. It's been tough to think about this young man, his dedication, his commitment to Southern. And as you can see right now on the screen, the Human Jukebox's tribute to him. Just a tough time on the yard in general.
Yeah, it has been. It's kind of been a pall over the campus and around just the alumni in general, man. That people, and let me say my condolences and to his family and to his friends and to the people who are close to him. Everything you read about him, he seems like a great young man. It's just a tragedy all the way around, but it's brought like a pall to our campus and to anything, the alumni and everybody. I mean, I think everybody is feeling this in some way, and it's a tragedy. Nothing else I can say about it other than I just say our prayers. Try to come together because it's such a divisive situation, and you just want everybody to kind of take a breath. We don't need to take. It's no sides to take.
Yeah.
It's all about we want to do the right thing and stop no fighting amongst each other. It just is what it is. We have to rally around Caleb's family. The Jaguar family has to do what's necessary to take care of one of our fallen Jaguars and his family. And that's just where I am with it. God's blessings to his family.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, Unc. I haven't really said much because I really believe that in this time, it's really just about honoring his life and legacy. To your point, everything you read about the young man is top notch. People loved him, his spirit, everything he brought to just the energy of the person he was. So really haven't really spent much time in the division. The divisive concepts as this which in tragedy, I really don't feel like folks should be. Should be a time that we're unified. So to see so much division. But I think to me, as a member of a D9 organization, I think that the call post all of this really is going to have to, we look deep inside of our own organizations and decide what do we want those or the next iteration of those organizations to be, because no one should lose their life pursuing a dream. And I don't care what dream that is, you should not have to lose your life pursuing that dream. And so
Yes.
I hope that post this, we all take a deep dive and understand like what our organizations were founded for, what were the principles of those organizations, and no one should be dying trying to become a part of our organization. So our thoughts and our prayers go out to Caleb's family, to all those who loved him. They've released some information about the services. Friday, there will be a university service, and then Saturday back in New Orleans, there will be a service as well. So if you can go out, show love and support to the family. It's going to be some trying times for some time to come, but we just wanted to send from inside the game our thoughts and our prayers to the family of Caleb Wilson. So rest in peace, on the Jaguar.
Definitely.
So switching gears to this week, as we said, it is SWAC basketball tournament weekend. So before we even get into the brackets and the times, what are your thoughts about the tournament, Unc? And we have some new additions. What are your thoughts about going into SWAC tournament play?
I'm hopeful. This is I've looked at the brackets. It's a tough road. It shouldn't. This is my opinion that it should not be this tough. And I know it is what it is, but it should not be this tough in a single big conference for the team that is proven over the period of time that they are the best team in the conference. They should not have to go through this kind of bracket to get to the championship.
Yeah.
It really shouldn't. And I'm not just saying that because it's Southern. I don't think it should ever be. I think we have to be more strategic in these days and times about putting our best foot forward when there's opportunities for us to compete in NCAA tournaments like this and in big tournaments, period.
Yeah, there's been a lot of talk across the spectrum of like what does it mean for single bid conferences and how do they, the road to the championship for the team has been deemed the number one team overall. Like I think it almost should be something like a double bye. You don't come in until like the semifinals.
That's what I think.
You win 2 games as opposed to having to win. I mean, our first game is on Wednesday afternoon. And so Wednesday, then Friday, which they now have a rest day in between, which they haven't had in the past. But it's a tough road, but I think I love this tournament. I think it's going to be an exciting tournament. I think that what the SWAC has proven thus far this year is that anybody can beat anybody on any given day. And all it takes is for a team to get hot and go on a 4-game winning streak, and they're cutting down the net. So I am proudful that this tournament is not the Texas Southern Invitational and that we sweep it on both sides of it. But going into the tournament, who are your sleeper picks on the men's side and then sleeper picks on the women's side?
Grambling on the men's side, and not so much a sleeper pick, but I think they could do some damage. Alabama A&M on the women's side.
Yeah, Alabama A&M looks good, and I'm thankful that they're like a 2 seed. So if we have to see them, we won't see them until championship Saturday. And I think that for me, it's always you just can't pick against Texas Southern and Coach Johnny in March, and it's time. Well, you can. You can. And listen, I am picking. Listen, I'm following you like what you said during football season. My heart tells me that we are going to prevail. But if I had to pick that team that could just show themselves to be worthy, show themselves to be, prudent to do what they need to do in this tournament, sleeper wise on the men's side, I'm always going to take Texas Southern. I feel like they find a way. I've watched them lose every game and then get to this tournament like they are the Lakers or somebody, and it's insane to watch. So that would be my sleeper on the men's side, and then I think the women's side is and not necessarily a sleeper because they've had a decent year, but a good year really is Jackson State. I've seen them, play some decent ball, but also lose some games that they probably should have won. And I like your pick of Alabama A&M though, like Coach Dunn and that transition of her coming to A&M, they got it right. They got it right. She was the right hire. And I'm looking forward to see how the season or the tournament plays out.
Shouts out to their PR staff for them riding on that 20-win coattail, even though they're number 3 or 4 in the conference.
Which
Riding on the fact that PR team did a bang-up job of making a big deal out of that. So shouts out to them.
They really did, but I think it speaks to the new parity, that, if you would, of the women's side, because for so long it felt like, even when Jackson State did win the year that we beat them, it just feels like they were in a league of their own on the women's side of basketball. What they had built for their program seemed to be something different. So it's good to see other teams, other names, like really, making themselves and putting themselves out there in a way that, I think it's going to be a good tournament. I think there's going to be those upsets, and I think that there's going to be, I think A&M finished 2, because if they had beat Grambling, the game would have been championship. But I mean, listen, they were at the tournament last year. Their alumni base was like, she not gonna make it another game, talking about their old coach. And after that tournament, they got rid of herself. And
ironically, she's the coach at Jackson State now.
Okay, so I thought I was crazy.
Yeah,
I thought that's the coach. Okay, so I have been asking my friends this the entire season. I'm like, that looks like the lady who coached at at A&M last year.
That's her.
Okay. I knew I wasn't crazy.
Sometimes the fit is just right at different places.
But I think that's a story in fit, because she has been successful at Jackson State, and she has, she finished, in the top 3 and right under her old school. And so I think that's going to serve as a good placement for the tournament. I think another thing that people have been talking about as it relates to this tournament, and we talk about this every year when it comes to postseason play in our conference, is location. And so, as you know, this year the tournament is in Atlanta. I'm looking forward to playing in the Gateway Center. It seems very travel friendly. If you're flying into Atlanta, you can catch the Sky Train, and get right. Incorrect package, right? That wrong address. But you can take the Sky Train right to the arena. So it seems to be more frugal as it relates to like traveling, if people plan to fly in. What are your thoughts, Unc, about the location venues of postseason playing the SWAC, specifically basketball?
I'm not a fan of Atlanta. Atlanta's a great city to visit, but I'm not a fan of it in terms of the SWAC and SWAC basketball. I think you're taking a lot of the fan base out of the market by going to Atlanta. I believe basketball is a sport where it's a sport of convenience for people. If you make it convenient for people, you're going to get crowds. But if you make it inconvenient, if I have to plan $1,000 or $1,500, $2,000 weekend to go watch basketball, college basketball, in particular SWAC, I don't think a lot of people want to do that right now. And I don't think moving it to Atlanta is conducive to the fan base who really want to see these games. I'm not against Atlanta, but I think they could be a lot more creative and moving this thing to an area where it's not so much on the edge of the conference, because that's what ends up happening. They want to be in major cities, I think, because of the television aspect of it. And I get it. That makes it easier for television production. It makes it less costly for television production. But going from Houston to Atlanta is not conducive to having fans in the seats. And maybe they don't care about that. Maybe what they care about is the television and the brand for television.
Yeah, I've had an opportunity to go wherever. So they had it in Dallas one year, which was really interesting. The only game that had fan base was the championship game. Houston was fun. I think the arena was too big. I think we should have had a smaller condensed arena in Houston as opposed to playing in the Toyota Center. And I get the idea of wanting to expose our athletes to collegiate NBA floors and all that. I'm actually a fan of Atlanta. I think the problem that we have as a conference, I believe, my first priority in our conference is that we should play all of our stuff on campus sites. So the number 1 seed should be hosting the tournament every year, they should host the tournament.
I agree.
You can mix and match between women and men if you want to, but I think that bringing our events on campus has proven to be where we get the most bang for our buck, both financially and from an atmosphere stand-wise. People hated going to Alcorn for the SWAC championship, but I still to this day think that was the best SWAC championships 2 years in football that they were at Alcorn. Yes. Thinking about growing up as a childhood, my best SWAC tournament appearance in my time was when the tournament was hosted at Southern. I think you had representation from across the SWAC. It was a great time. But I do like when they have it in major cities, but I still believe that we as an entity, and when I say we as an entity, I mean the SWAC, have to do a better job of marketing the events to the people in the community that we're going to, as well as encouraging alumni from close areas and proximate areas to attend. So, for example, I have a couple of friends who graduated from Southern in Atlanta who live in Atlanta, and I'm like, they was like, "What you doing this week?" I was like, "I'm gonna be in Atlanta for the SWAC basketball tournament." They're like, "What are you talking about?" So, like, people who are proximate to here, who have relation with the universities, and that's also universities' faults. Like, we need to do better at marketing the things that our schools will be participating in these major cities. I'm looking forward to the arena. It's a smaller arena. It's like one of those arenas where the fans are on top of the like players kind of situations.
Yes. Yeah.
So I'm looking for it. I think it should be a decent atmosphere, especially as we get later into the weekend. But we'll see. And I think the SWAC. I was watching I don't know if it's the Big South maybe, and they had been having their conference tournaments on campus. And next year, they are moving to a neutral site. And so to your point, this branding and marketing for television is a real thing. But the commentators was like, they've created such positive atmosphere, they don't see why they're moving it. And so I guess we're going to just keep moving until we get it right.
I think it's a double-edged sword. I mean, I get what the SWAC office and the idea of having it in larger cities, in markets, in smaller arenas a lot of times. But like you said, a lot of the issue becomes when you're in a city like Atlanta, there's so many other things going on, and you're marketing, you're trying to get people involved, and it's expensive to advertise in Atlanta. It's expensive to have billboards. It's expensive to have radio and television ads. So you're almost defeating your purpose a lot of times because you're trying so hard. And we use a lot of social media and things, and you think that that's reaching people, but what you find out is that the people that you're trying to reach, a lot of them are just, they're not keyed into what's going on. Like, and I always have to slap myself on the hand, because I have to realize that we're not like most people. Like, if I lived in Atlanta, I would know that the SWAC tournament was coming.
Right. Correct.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
correct.
Nobody would have to tell me that, but then I have to realize everybody's not like me. They're not like you. They don't keep up with everything all season long and keep up with things that are going on at the university.
Yeah. I think that's part of the issue. And I think that's what I think the onus comes from the university also being better marketers of when our product is in a place. So, for example, a couple of weeks ago when the Battle of the Bands was in LA, I thought that the band did a great job of marketing themselves, going to campus visits, doing our thing. But the university still, in my opinion, plays a role at understanding what does that mean. So, for example, when we were in LA driving up to the Battle of the Bands, you know what Alabama A&M did? They had a billboard. They had bought and written a billboard just for that weekend so that people can know that their institution had a presence in that city. And so I think that from a marketing standpoint, like, we have products, and I think that the university should have did like a send-off, like all kind of things to just let people know what's happening to get folks more involved and engaged with that. But the SWAC is trying to do better at their marketing tools. I think we have a clip of the SWAC tournament's marketing presentations, and we can roll that if we do. I think we do. I might be tripping. the SWAC they're trying to do things. There's a lot of things happening around it. There is, concerts. Young Jock will be performing. Some other local Atlanta
Young
folks.
Jock? I'm missing Young Jock?
Young Jock is
Damn it,
performing.
man.
Young
Damn.
Jock. Young Jock is actually Championship Saturday, so that's gonna be pretty cool. He's gonna be the halftime performance at
Maybe I can
Championship
meet him
Saturday.
in the club.
Yeah, so no, so I mean, like I said, and I think that there's now a cheerleader band mandate, so university, so they're trying to create the atmosphere of what could be. Because I remember one year I went and I was talking to some of the marketing people, and there were schools that were playing, and there was no band, there was no cheerleaders for either school. I'm like, this is a tournament. This is supposed to be something that you mandate, and I found out that they have mandated it. So shout out to y'all for taking my marketing too, because people also come out to see stuff like that. Like even if it's just the pep band, people come out to see and appreciate that. So looking forward to an amazing conference. So as it's looking right now, our girls will either play Valley or FAMU, and then the boys will either play Grambling or A&M. Let me tell you something. I am hoping that A&M beats Grambling. I want Grambling to win, but I don't want to see Grambling in the tournament. Like I feel like there is a hoax. And I got my Bayou Classic shirt on today, but just supporting them in airport style. But I think that there's like this weird energy when it comes to playing them in the SWAC tournament.
I agree.
I don't like, and I don't.
I agree.
I don't want that for our life.
Even though we would be playing both teams for the third time, and that's part of the problem that I have. Anytime you have to beat a team 3 times in a season, it's tough. But playing one of those 2 teams, if I had to pick a team, I would prefer to play Alabama A&M because if it's Grambling, we played them tight both times.
Both times.
We played them tight, and it's extra incentive. They have an extra inspiration, and it's a third time. So I would prefer to see A&M in that game if we had our choice. But that's what I talk about the bracket. It shouldn't be that difficult to get for the number 1 team and number 1 seed to make it to the championship game.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the pathway. I mean, you hear coaches across the tournament talk about this throughout the season that people have these difficult pathways to get to these tournaments, and then they and it's like I don't know. But if you are in Atlanta, around Atlanta, can get to Atlanta, we need the support. We need a Jaguar Nation to be loud and proud. To get to, trying to get to March Madness. It's predicted that if the boys make it, they'll be in the playing game in Dayton, Ohio, and just March Madness starts on like the 18th. So, I mean, it's going to move fast. So, hopefully our teams are going there. But we talked about the tournament, but I just want to just get your thoughts on, we have 2, okay, you hear it, 2 regular season championships this year. In basketball, both the girls and the boys won the regular season championship outright. And so shout out to Coach KJ and Coach Funches. What do you think about the job that our basketball coaching staff has done over this time?
They've done a really great job. I got to give a shout out to Coach Funches because I give him a hard time, but I will tell you something. When it comes to SWAC play, interconference play, there's no better coach in the conference than Coach Funches. He always has his team ready to play. They always are in the hunt for. Even when Jackson State went on their run, the most troublesome team they had was Southern.
Yeah,
and that has to do with Coach Funches and his staff. He has a great staff. They've gone out and recruited some really good players this year out of the portal. And I like, I have to give them their props. They started out slow, but they've come and become a dominant team. And you see the results of it, winning the SWAC regular season championship. Coach KJ, you held your breath because you wanted to see if this team would fall off like we've seen them do over the last few years. They start out well, and then they have a slump at the end of the season, and they kind of fall off. We saw some chinks in the armor, but they proved that they're a tough team. They're tough physically and mentally, and they were able to fight through some of the things late in the season and hold on to win the championship. Now it's about going to the tournament. So they both done an excellent job. And I can remember, having these conversations over the summertime when everybody hadn't anything to talk about. And all of these people, we're selling for mediocrity and blah, blah, blah. And our athletic director doesn't know what the hell he's doing. And all of a sudden we won a championship in soccer. We won a championship in bowling. We won men's and women's basketball championship. This volleyball team went to the quarterfinals for the first time since forever in the SWAC tournament. And so it, things are looking up
And
for baseball and softball. So hey, who knows?
well, I mean, I think that's true, and I think that we all like in some regards have like there was some doubts. And I've always liked Coach KJ, but when Coach KJ was first brought to Southern from Tulane, people were losing their shits. Excuse my French if we can't curse. Sorry, folks. I mean, people were going crazy. I've actually been meaning to, and I'm going to do it tonight when I, look at these buses and see who else coming to my hotel. But I'm going to go and look at some of these old comments because people.
So you're going to go be petty, huh?
Yes. I got to go bump some of these old posts because in our internal groups like Jaguar Perspective and Jaguar Diehards and all these stuff, people were literally dragging for Coach KJ, and he's always just seemed like a decent human. And I don't really like. I mean, I understand that we hold coaches accountable, but when people are decent humans, my God, like give the people a little grace.
Yes.
But people really drug for Coach KJ, and he has consistently over these last few years just built a solid team that's not only swag good. Like this team could make it to a tournament. And the thing is, like, because even if we, and I don't want to speak this way, but even if we don't win and go to the NCAA, we're going to get an NIT bid at least for this particular season. And so he has built a solid team through turmoil, the stuff that they went through last year. The turmoil that they went through last year, Willie, please. The turmoil
Willie said, I commend the administration because I gave them hell. So that's what Willie Boulder said. So hats off to you for admitting that. You and David, who will admit that y'all were both critical of the hire.
And there was two people I was going to go find them comments from, Willie and David. So I'm glad they came to the forefront before we could get to them. But no, and I think that he's built a solid team. And you know what, the story I love the most, it's been a trying time in Southern these last couple of weeks. We just had a lot of things going on. But at the heart of the heart, Southern is always Southern. And we prevailed through all of these unfortunate circumstances. I was at a conference in LA last week. It was called the Dream Deferred and HBCU Conference for Work. And there was a kid. Well, I thought he was a student or his mom or someone went to Southern, but he was in the conference with his mom, and he had on a Southern University sweatshirt. So I went up to him and I was like, "Hey, young man, you went to Southern, like what? Just sparking up conversation." He was like, "No, sir." So at that moment, I knew he was like in high school still. He was like, "I'm a junior in Denver, Colorado, and my dream school is to go to Southern, and I want to play basketball." So even through the things that we sometimes don't see the light that is Southern University, people across this country continue to identify it. There was another parent who called me. Her kid plays basketball and football at Walker High School, and I need to get you his information, coach, so you can. Because you're the recruiting. I'm the ambassador, but when it comes to the coaches and getting all that stuff, I just hand it over to Coach Flood. But he's a senior at Walker, and he too have all kind of schools interested in him. Alcorn, Jackson, all these schools are on him hard. And he was like, he calls me Unc. He was like, Unc, I just want to play basketball at Southern and go and major in engineering. So there is still a light that is our institution. And I think sometimes we take it for granted because we have such high expectations for it. But we are the first recruiters of our institution, so continue to tell the good news that is Southern, and I think that it will draw lights to what's to come.
I agree.
Yeah. Switching gears just a little bit. Have you been keeping up with the high school basketball situation?
I have things to say about that.
All right, let's hear it, because I got a few things to say too.
Congratulations to Southern Lab.
Hail to the Southern kids as faithful, loyal, and bold.
Yes. So they beat Lincoln Prep, formerly known as Grambling High. Southern Lab is headed to the championship. So shouts out to them. Shouts out to all the Baton Rouge area schools and schools around the area who are going to headed to Lake Charles, Liberty, I don't want to go through the whole list because I'll miss somebody.
So yes, you will.
Yeah, I'll miss somebody. But shouts out to all the schools who are going to be in Lake Charles. Shouts out to the ladies, Southern Lab ladies who won the championship in Hammond, America. Their women's team won the championship the other day, 2 days ago in Hammond.
Back to back.
Shouts out to them, back-to-back championships. To them, shouts out to Woodlawn for winning the champion or going to the championship. I don't know if they won. Yeah, they did. They won. They won. Oh, they didn't. I thought they won. Okay.
They lost to who did Woodlawn lose to? I was at the game, and they should have won. They lost
Parkway.
Huntington.
Yep. Shouts out to Huntington because they have a lot of Southernites from Huntington.
Yeah, a lot of Southern. Yeah, it is it's a brainchild for Southern University at Huntington High School.
Yeah, yep. And Zachary for winning, but is Zachary for winning their championship on the women's side? I think they're in Lake Charles for the men's championship too. They're in the semifinals. So shouts out. But this is what I want to say.
Go ahead, get it out. Get it out.
Can we please?
Get a shot
please get a shot clock in high school basketball. Because what I witnessed between Southern Lab and Lincoln Prep was a travesty. Shouts out to Southern Lab for winning, but that's a damn shame that those coaches let those kids stand on that court with that basketball while one team sits in the zone and the other team stands out at the circle with the ball on their hip or just dribbling the ball and letting 3 or 4 minutes run off the clock. Coach, that is a terrible job of coaching, and you should be better than that. That is terrible by the LHSAA to allow that in this day and age of basketball. Please get a shot clock so these coaches will actually have to coach and strategize in basketball. Please.
Yes, I agree. And so two things. First of all, because I was in the comment section of the video in the game that you saw. Like, first of all, I don't play with my school because we are just following the rules.
Yes.
Let's start there. Secondly, yes, they need a shot clock. I've been saying and advocating for a high school basketball shot clock since I was on the school board. Like, it helps the game. It speeds up the game. It does a lot of things to just really help the game.
30-second shot clock, baby. That's all it needs.
That's all it takes. So we were playing in the realms of the game and following the rules. My problem is they have all of the other rules to where you can't just do it. If you are defending a team who is just holding the ball to play a shot clock, get your, I'm gonna cuss again, ass out of a zone defense, play man to man, and force them to have to move the ball at least and not just stand there because you do nothing. I saw the coach literally pushing his team back as players were trying to come up to defend. But so on the other end, I don't know if you saw the Madison game, the girls game, their fans were berserk because Madison tried the hold the ball scheme, but their lead wasn't that big. And it came to backfire them. As a matter of fact, there was one play, they had a fast break. They could have made a layup and went up by 4 or 6 points. The coach literally called a timeout mid-fast break, which is, I've never seen anything like it. Called the timeout mid-fast break, pulled this team out of the huddle, and then they tried to hold the ball thing. And it backfired on Madison. And Madison gave that game away in the last 40 seconds. And so, yes, I think that there needs to be. But what I was reading in the comments, and I don't know what to be true or not, but people were talking about the money that it takes to actually run a shot clock within basketball. You know anything about that, Coach? I don't know.
I've heard this discussion before. That is a crock of you know what.
Okay.
They have shot clocks all in high school basketball all over the country. They can have shot clocks in Louisiana. They have shot clocks in AAU basketball. They have shot clocks everywhere in all forms of basketball, including high school, all over the country. They can have shot clocks in Louisiana high school basketball too. It's just it's a bunch of BS, and it's a bunch of coaches. And see, that's why I don't blame the kids at all. I blame the coaches because what it is, it's a bunch of coaches who don't actually want to have the pressure of strategy and coaching a full game who do these types of things. Like you said, you talked about and I'm not going to call any names, but I'm just going to say this falls directly on the coaches because they are the ones who are the most who are against this the most having shot clocks because it would mean they would actually have to have some kind of strategy other than just sitting there and holding the ball, and then the other coach stays in the zone. That's terrible coaching.
Yeah,
That's
and I think
horrible, terrible, and simplistic coaching.
yeah, and I was still confused when I went back and watched the tape of our. I was so busy, and even after that, they got a 10-point lead, and we came back. So whatever. But I was confused at the strategy from the Lincoln Prep side because in his mind they had a lead at the time, but it was only like a 2-point lead. So it's like that's not a big enough lead either way to like try to like really halt your offense. And so yeah, I think that they need a shot clock. I don't know what it's gonna take to get that. But I truly believe that they need it. But anyway, survive in advance. And Southern Lab is going to the championship. So I don't care. Then people's like, oh, y'all can't dribble. Well, we can't dribble and you still lost. So
Yes.
It is what it is. But and I also want to shout out both of our teams. We have 2 kids that are both in 8th grade starting on the varsity squad and are literally difference makers. And so our program will be all right for years to come. Shout out to the 8th graders, middle schoolers out there competing in varsity basketball. We had a kid today in 8th grade, number 3, who hit like 3 clutch threes in the second half. So the kids are playing. And I just love the spirit though. Outside of the shot clock stuff of this tournament and this time. I sat in Hammond all day from Southern Lab's first game all the way through Woodland's game, and just the energy that is surrounding high school basketball during this time of the year is top notch. And I know as the week goes on, Lake Charles is going to be on fire. Like Lake Charles is going to be the place to be.
Exactly. Just a small moment of observation that I want to pass along to people. I don't know who I can pass this on, but just a message from me, my personal message. Please, 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 the next time Southern Lab appears in a championship, don't let them go out there with purple and gold shoes on anymore. Okay, please. I'm just asking, just personal point of reference, please.
Let me tell you something. Let me tell you about this show, Unc. You take your personal grievances up with me. You don't talk about my school. You don't talk about my school publicly. You email me, and I'll email the people the concerns. But don't talk about my school on this platform publicly.
All right, I won't do that again. But I'm just saying,
Mr. Brister, I know you watch the show. He's a big fan. He's a superintendent over at the lab.
And I know they were probably donated. I'm just saying.
It wasn't me, Mr. Brister. I know they was cool. Whatever Mr. Brister say do. Whatever Mr. Brister say do, that's what we do. Carrington, I know you watch. It wasn't me. So this platform will not be used to badger hail to the old Southern kids. But no, I really hate that the top 28 typically always falls during the same week as the SWAC tournament, because it's like can't be 2 places at one time.
Right.
But yeah, so I'm looking. Do you have any predictions for the tournament? Switching gears back to SWAC, what are your predictions for this upcoming tournament?
My prediction is that somebody's going to make a run from low in the bracket. Somebody's going to get on a streak, and they're going to make a run. I just hope that neither of our teams are the teams that have become victims of that. But I have a really close eye on Grambling, because I believe Grambling is a very talented team, and I believe they're the team that can sneak up on anybody, or sneak up on somebody. And of course, like I said earlier, Alabama A&M, although they finished second, I think they finished second in the conference. I take a look out for them. But Mississippi Valley, the other day, they upset Jackson State in Valley. They've been playing some pretty decent basketball. If they get in the tournament and against one of those, get in the tournament, I think there's Mississippi Valley against FAMU. Valley could pull off an upset or pull off a win against FAMU if they start making that game ugly and they spread the court out and get to the rim. Valley could make some noise. Not saying they're gonna make it to the championship, but they definitely could make some noise and win a game or two, or win a game.
Don't put that issue out. They can win a game. They played the first game against FAMU. Great Valley, great season. Come against Southern Gilson. Also, this tournament, I have been here. I think this is like my 6th year in a row. coming to the basketball tournament, and we have had first round exits a lot, and so I like people like Maryland, like Southern by a lot in every game. I have PTSD. So Wednesday at 2:00, just send some prayers my way because I'm gonna be in the arena sweating until the game is over, because I've seen us come here with quality, good teams and come to this tournament and wake up like we just don't know. And I mean, and all it takes in tournament play is for a team to just get hot. Like, you have one bad shooting day, it's done. Like, you can't recover from it. So, I mean, I like the fight of this team. Even when they seem to be out of games, they're never out of games. So I know that we're going to be competitive, but I just hope that we are locked in, ready to play. Wednesday at 2:00 is a weird time. Like, it's just all the things. So, like, just be ready. So then lock in and win this thing.
Yes. And the men and the women play on the same day, right?
2 and 5:30.
Yes, and that'll be on ESPN Plus for those of you who want to tune in and watch.
Yes.
And see, Willie says we will have a size issue somewhere in the tournament where we'll be able to overcome that. I don't know. You have to tell me where we would have a size issue. I don't know if it's necessarily a size issue or if it's a focus issue for us.
Well,
and maybe I don't know. Maybe you could talk better about that.
So I get Willie's question when he talk. Like, I don't think that we have how do I put this? We don't have like a consistent big man in the post. We have some. We play smaller ball. Like we are fast on the edges, and that's why we play the perimeter. But we do have big men that I believe can make a difference. And the reality is, in a tournament like this, when you have such, like, our big men are like more quick, power 40 kind of things, as opposed to like a true 7-foot center. But what you do, like, is you force teams that are playing bigger to like have to come out into perimeter and guard. And that's to me, that's always a mismatch. And so you get them into foul trouble and all that stuff. So while it may seem like a disadvantage, I think we rebound the ball well, no matter who we're playing against. I think the guys are like hungry after the ball. I think a tournament game, the difference is free throw shooting and offensive rebounding. If we do those two things, we will win this tournament.
Yeah, and that's why I was about the size issue, because I don't view the SWAC as being a size issue league, because I believe while we might not have the 7-footers or the 6-foot, I believe our guys are more athletic. We have a lot of 6'8", 6'7", 6'8", 6'9" guys who are athletic, who can jump, who can rebound, which I think is more conducive in the long term. But the thing that we have a problem with, that I've noticed in the games that we lose, is we don't hit free throws. We are not a very good free throw shooting team.
We are not.
And especially late to close out games.
Every game we've lost.
Yes, we have to be able to close out games and hit our free throws. We have not been able to do that. We're going to have to, like I saw somebody else on here say, we're going to have to hit free throws, offensive rebound, like you said, and protect the basketball. We have to value the basketball.
Yeah, I think yes, all of that. The free throws, I think the free throws are the difference. If we make free throws, we win. We undefeated right now in the conference if we make free throws. Another thing that I've seen that's like a issue point. I don't know how many teams in our conference can sustain this, but it seems like in the games that I've been able to be at, in the games that I've watched, when a team produces full court pressure on us, we act like we have no clue at how to break the press. Like, I'm like, why are we running to the corner when 30 people back here trying to go take the ball from you? And so I don't know how many teams could sustain that for 40 minutes, but if a game is close and a team picks up pressure and, you know, we get crazy with the ball, that gives me pause. But I think that this team is hungry from the men's side. They've proven to be able to get out of sticky situations, and it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun, and if you can be in Atlanta, we're gonna need you in your face in the place. Right, you do learn to break the press in middle school, but it seems like we lost it somewhere.
Yeah. We've struggled, and that's how most teams have gotten back in the game against us, or have stayed in the game against us on the men's side. By pressing us, making us turn the ball over.
And it's like the same. It's the same. It's almost like they're taught to break the press by running to the corner when most people teach you that if you're breaking the press, the middle of the floor is your go-to. It's like, how do you get the ball to the middle? And, you know, I'm just a sideline coach. I ain't played no basketball, but I'm a student of the game, but I know that much. And so, yeah, but I think that those are the issues. But like I said, if we make free throws, all of that other stuff doesn't matter. We will be successful. But I think it's March. Anything can happen.
Anything can happen.
Anything can
it's
happen.
The reason they call it March Madness.
Yeah, and I know I'm gonna be a nervous wreck. And basketball is also a sport like not like football. It's like literally a game of run. So you can be up here, down here, up, and it's just up and down situation, and it's too much. I think I'm gonna wear my glasses all week on because my eyes are already hurting.
Yes, indeed. I think on the women's side, though, I think the women, they have to shoot well. They have to shoot free throws well. Both teams have to shoot well at the free throw line. And a women's team, I think they have to shoot well and take smart shots and don't lose their concentration on defense. They play defense really well, but when they stop hitting shots, they tend to get laxed on defense. They tend to put their head down and get frustrated. I think if they can get past that, continue to play good defense, shoot the ball relatively well, and once again, like we said, free throws and rebounding, but most importantly, free throws, they have just as good a chance of winning the championship too.
Yeah, I think it's crazy that it seems to be because even in the high school game, like I saw so many teams like literally. LSU like in their tournament game, and we could briefly talk about them shortly, but like in their game they just free throws, and it's like it's the bare basic. And it just seems so difficult down the stretch. People just missing free throws. So speaking of LSU, South Carolina girls won the women's SEC tournament. Any shockers, surprises there, Unc? And do you watch women's SEC basketball or women's?
Yes. Okay. Yes. I follow South Carolina versus Texas in the championship. I was surprised at the way South Carolina came out and took it to Texas. I'm not surprised that they won, but I was surprised in the way that they dominated the game. LSU with all the injuries. And this is the thing about women's basketball this year. We see USC come out and beat UCLA, a UCLA team that dominated South Carolina earlier in the season. Now we see South Carolina get dominated by Connecticut. Connecticut turns around, looks like they're going to win the title. And it's Texas. You see Texas playing well. You see all of the Notre Dame playing well. In women's basketball, this is truly a case where you've seen Duke get hot, and now they're playing well. They won the ACC tournament for the first time in years. There are literally 10 or 12 teams who could win the national championship. TCU has gotten hot.
Yeah. And Haley Van Lith, man.
Van Lith goes from Louisville, where she was All-American, to LSU, big expectations. It didn't work out at LSU. She then transfers to TCU, and now she looks like Haley Van Lith again. So
again, what the people said earlier in the comments about right product, wrong address. That has been, to me, if you don't know anything about fit, Haley Van Lith's story will tell you that, like, literally you left being an All-American to join an All-American cast. Didn't meet the expectations at all. I was at a basketball game, and I was sitting next to her mom, unbeknownst to me. Yeah. And I was talking about her, and she was like, just give her a little grace. And then so we started talking. And then I watched at TCU, and literally, to your point, she's literally Haley Van Lith all over again.
Yes.
She didn't need a supporting cast. She just needed to go where she needs to be the star. Like, it's wild.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, women's basketball, man, is competitive. As you can tell, I watch quite a bit.
Probably you do.
Watching more than the men. Actually, today I was watching James Madison in Arkansas State. And James Madison, who had been on an 18-game winning streak, got to the championship game. But Arkansas State were able to pull off the victory. James Madison.
There is nothing like this time of the year in any sport. I don't think that any sport has been able to match the intensity, and especially since women have come around over these last couple of years, to match the intensity that March Madness produces. It's literally the best time of the year. And so, yeah, obviously on the women's side, I'm hoping that LSU gets healthy. Kim Mulkey and squad goes to Tampa and cuts down the net. Obviously, I'm a Kentucky basketball fan on the men's side, so unbeknownst to them playing Southern in the tournament, I hope that they go all the way and win.
That is not a team that I would want to meet. Kentucky is not a team that I would want to meet in the NCAA tournament, like say in the Sweet 16 or something like that, because they're literally maybe 15 men's teams who could get on runs and make it to the championship, and Kentucky is one of them.
Hey, go Big Blue. Go Big Blue. No, I mean, and I think the tournament is just like we talked about in the SEW, in the SWAC tournament. Guard play and free throw shooting is going to be what carries you. And I've told people all season long that one of my biggest struggles with LSU women's game and making a deep run into the tournament is that and I say we because I'm an LSU women's fan, we don't have a true point guard on the women's side. Last year, Poa has done okay at like taking us along. Michaela Williams, which is basically like a shooting guard, small forward, she is the person that if you need a shot, you need to get her the ball, and she's operating the floor. And so Day is coming along in these latter games. But if you don't have a true point guard in this time, it's gonna be tough. It's tough for you to win deep or make a deep run in March. But I mean, I think there's parity across the board. There's no one team on either side that you can just give the championship to today. And I think that's the beauty of this time of the year.
And I just want to address this. Gina, me personally, me and Coach Melle, I think I can speak. We don't pay the referees anything, but you could tell Avis that it's the going rate is I've heard is $2,500 a game. Okay. Since you put your face up there with no picture on Facebook, who even does that? But you could tell Avis, Gina, that me and Coach Melle, we don't personally pay the referees, but I've heard the going rate for a referee is $2,500. I don't know.
No, we baited it. We got the faceless Facebook pictures asking questions. But I would also, and it's crazy because people, especially when it comes to Southern, people swear to God that we are the biggest cheaters, etc. But I feel like we always, and I think that that's just every school though. I feel like there's always a target on our back. We get no referee support or help or anything else. And if I could pay the referees, Gina, let me just be very clear on this part, ma'am, with my glasses on. If I could pay the referees and Southern can win everything every year, I would write a blank check today, baby.
That's right. And if you have to ask how much, you can't afford it, Brokey. So stop asking us what
Brokey. No.
But the thing with the referees, and I hear this all the time, in particular in HBCU sports. Oh, the referees, the school is cheating. Man, y'all need to get out more and watch the officiating across college sports. Officiating sucks across college sports. Trust me, officiating is bad. I cover a lot of things outside of the SWAC at HBCU. Trust me, officiating is bad across the board. That's why they have problems finding officials. Because people don't want to talk, they don't want to put up with the BS, and they don't want to be under that kind of scrutiny and pressure. So officiating is just not, it's hard. They're humans. They're humans, and they have big, fast, strong humans moving around in front of them, and they have to make a call. Yeah. It's just what it is.
Yeah, I think one of my friends is he likes to proclaim himself to be a great referee. Duntrail, this is about you. And one of our friends went to go watch him referee the other day, and so she came in a group chat afterwards, and she gave like a full report. She's like, "Yep, you missed 5 calls," and so it's like they're literally human. And I think
there's a no win situation.
It's a job that I would never, because I tell people I'll be in the crowd fighting people like me. Because what are y'all talking about? But I mean, they're human. It requires a lot. And I think that it's a part of the game. And I think it's also what makes the reason that we love sports so great. Because imagine we did this without referees. Like, it would just be like how you used to call your own fouls and pickup games in the neighborhood. Like, it would be insane. But no, it's a great time of the year. I am looking forward to the baseball team. Before we get out of here, had a big victory over Mercer over the weekend. Listen, Southern sports, we give our folks a hard time, but we are having a very good year, and I just want to shout out to everybody who makes it happen. Roman gets such bad press most times, but something is working up there. Even when we don't look like it or when it doesn't feel like it's working, we have a lot of good things happening in our department, and hopefully we can add to the championship case and make some runs in these tournaments over the next few days.
Exactly. So shouts out to them. I would love to see us win that All SWAC trophy this year. That would be a beautiful thing.
We're 0.5 points out of first place right now.
I think we actually are in first place. I think the numbers need to be
updated.
Need to be updated. I think we actually are in first place.
Yeah, that those two basketballs should have put us over the edge. But yeah, so if you're in Atlanta, get to Atlanta. If you can't get to Atlanta, watch the game on TV. Come out, support. There was one more question. Oh, that's a good question. Going to the referees before we get out of here, Unc. The last foul in the Bama State Southern game. What are your thoughts?
Most of the people I know said it wasn't a foul, but that means that it probably was a foul. So I don't know. Hey, the call was the call.
Yeah, I don't know. It's tough because people always say things like, the referees can't make calls like that in those moments. But if it's a foul, it's a foul. I don't think that particular play, it was a foul. It was weird how he even called that foul. But I hope that we don't have no heart attack situations like that this weekend in Atlanta, because Coach Melle can't take it. And if y'all
we don't want the officials deciding the game.
Yes,
don't put it in the officials' hands. We don't want them deciding the game.
Yeah, we don't want them to decide the game. Well, it's been another great show, another edition of Inside the Game. We didn't get to any of our sponsors today because we were just running our mouth. But if you want to be a sponsor of Inside the Game, there's ways for you to tap in, be a part of the action. We appreciate the support. We love what we do. We love being and doing this here with you guys. So shout out to y'all. We are hoping that next Monday we will be hoisting a trophy to start in men's and women's basketball and preparing for our work in the tournament. Here's our website. Make sure you follow us. The biggest way that you can be of help with us is subscribing to our YouTube page. The goal today is for you to subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and send to 10 of your friends to have them subscribe, and we can create truly an Inside the Game family.
That's right.
Shout out to all of you guys for continuing to
like and subscribe. And you can listen to us during the week on KTTP 1110 a.m. in Alexandria. You can download the app to KTTP 1110 a.m. and check that out. My man Jarvis Antoine at Antoine Law Firm. Check him out. Go to his website. He's been very complimentary. Said he's gotten a lot of hits on his website coming from our show. So shouts out. Continue to do that. It's just we're doing our thing. Go to YouTube though. Go to YouTube and go to Inside the Game with Coach Melle and Uncle Flood. Go to Inside the Game with not just Inside the Game with Coach Melle and Uncle Flood, and it'll take you to us. Like and subscribe. Let's get those numbers up. That will help us a lot. The more platforms we can get to, the better it is. So we need you guys to do that.
And if you have a business interested in advertising with the Coach Melle, Uncle Flood show, Inside the Game, make sure you hit us up. We have all the sponsorship opportunities for you in individual as well as business capacity. So with that being said, we're at 6:59, 1 minute to go. Unc, take us out.
If the man upstairs says the same, we'll be back at the same time in the same place, because as always, we'll take you inside the game.